Welcome everyone. Today's topic is how to retire with real estate in the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, so let's dive into it. What do we mean by retiring? Okay, so a lot of people think that it's all this financial freedom, right? Well, it's more than that. It's more important than that. What it means is that you cannot distinguish between a Sunday from a Wednesday, a Thursday from a Saturday. Pretty much you're able to do what's truly meaningful in your life, whatever it is. So in this case, in our case, is spending quality time. That's our number one priority. That's what it means. Sometimes it means being silly with grandma, just hanging out with the family, right? That's what it means. So a lot of people wonder, well, how am I going to retire, right? Because through real estate, this is what I've been taught. So this is what most people are learning, right? That overall it takes about 20 to 30 years for you to be able to retire. So the way that most people do it is through some retirement plans like 401ks, pension plans, where they need to save up, they need to invest. And overall, at the end, hoping that once they get the retirement age, they can start the withdrawals. But this is what's going to happen. So you're going to be building up net worth for a long time, okay? And then once you reach a certain point, then people think, well, once I retire, I'm going to start doing all the things that I love. Well, when indeed it should be the other way around, right? You need to start doing what you truly love today, not tomorrow, because guess what? Tomorrow may never come. Um, Therefore, you've got to position yourself to do it ASAP. So we're going to scratch this up, this concept of the traditional way, right? Because we don't want to, when we reach a certain age, to worry about, well, what if I run out, right? Because over time, right? When I start taking all this withdrawal, or maybe I do a reverse mortgage, I start tapping into my equity, then I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover my expenses when I reach a certain age, right? So people really panic, and it shouldn't be that way. So let me tell you the way we need to do it. Okay, the way it needs to be done is as follows. We are going to ramp up your net worth building by accumulating rentals, okay? And this is the cool part, that you don't need to wait 20, 30, 40 years, right? The cool thing is that through real estate, you can accomplish retirement a lot quicker, and most importantly, you never ever need to worry about running out of money. Why? Because when you accumulate rentals, guess what's going to happen to property values over time? They're going to increase. Why do you think they're going to increase? Because population grows. Therefore, there's a scarce demand. Real estate is a scarce asset, right? So the demand for real estate grows as time passes by. Therefore, your property value will continue to go up over time. Therefore, your net worth will continue to go up. And guess what? If their rents consequently go up. So then it doesn't matter if you need to withdraw money. Over time, with rentals, you are going to be okay. And you don't need to wait 60, 70 to be able to retire. Okay, you need to start thinking now today, what is it that I need? Because a lot of investors asked, well, if I'm a new investor, how many properties do I need to retire? It's not the number of properties, it's all about your lifestyle. Okay, how much do you truly need to cover your expenses? That's what it boils down to. What are your regular expenses, your bigger expenses like the mortgage, potentially car payments, and so forth, right? Because if you think about it, once you focus on at least trying to pay down where you live, right? And that could be done in 7 to 10 years. Guess what? Most of your other expenses are going to be very, very reasonable. Okay, even if you have a car payment, medical insurance, dental insurance, and so forth, right? So we're going to be able to accomplish that through rentals. Now, the question is, well, how can we speed up this process of net worth building? That's what I'm going to show you next. So with rentals, the way we've done it is, in the last 2 years, we accumulated about 29 rentals, 2.5 years. So the key is to recycle money. So what I mean by that is that we are going to be buying a certain type of property. In this case, we're focusing on single family homes that middle class can afford. So the purchase price should be less than 200,000 when it's all said and done, okay, including the rehab. And the key thing that you need to understand is that when you rent these properties, you need to collect at least 1% of the all-in expense. So let me give an example. For instance, you buy a property for 120, you put in 30,000, so all-in is 150,000, okay? That property should appraise for somewhere in the 200,000. But guess what? Most importantly, your rental income should be at least 1% of your all-in cost. So 130 or 120 for the purchase plus 30 for the rehab is 150. So 1% of 150 should be 1,500. Okay, that is the magic formula to accumulate wealth through rentals. So once you meet that 1%, you're going to be able to cash flow average. It's going to be between 250 to 300 and up per door per month. Okay, so the question is, how many would you need to be able to cover all your expenses? So you need to create your personal financial statement where you put in pretty much all your debt, okay? So the cool thing about this is that we are going to be able to build this portfolio fairly fast. What we need to do is recycle money. So that's what I want to show you next. We're going to get into these numbers last, but I want to show you what it takes. It takes three things to be able to accomplish this. You need the training, the knowledge, okay, which I'm going to show you the secret sauce to be able to do that. Two, you need a team, okay, that includes mentors, attorneys, accountants, inspectors, and so forth. And super important, something that I highlighted is virtual assistants. I'm going to cover that in just a second because let me tell you what I found with myself in particular and with many investors is that if you have a to-do list and it doesn't get done in the next 2 to 3 days, guess what? You are becoming the bottleneck of your own success. Therefore, you've got to delegate to other people who can do it better, cheaper, and more efficient that you can do it, okay? At the beginning, it's gonna be a very hard pill to swallow, but guess what? Once you get used to it, you cannot live without them. It is that simple. ChicagoDealVault has about probably right now we have 13 people in the staff. Out of them, five of them are virtual assistants. Okay, so they help us with a series of tasks, and they could be so simple tasks, but again, I just don't have the time to do them. We need to focus on what's really important, and that brings us to point number 3. We have to laser beam in focusing on what truly makes money in real estate. And guess what? It's not spending time on the computer, okay? It's not spending time on systems. No, it is making offers, talking to sellers, and talking to listing agents. That's where your time is going to add the most return on investment, okay? Therefore, I want to show you that by having a team of people and virtual assistants, they're going to do what I would like to call overhead. It's required for sure, but you don't need to become an expert in any of these subjects. You've got to work with the experts. Now, this is something that I also
You got disconnected, Hugo. We can hear you.
We cannot hear you, Hugo.
can you hear me? Can you hear me better? Thank you for letting me know. Is this better?
You missed about 3
I hear
minutes.
you now, Hugo.
Okay, perfect. Hey, Phil, can you interrupt me right away when the song goes off? Okay, so
Sure.
what I was telling you is the 3 secrets, right? You need the knowledge, the training. I'm going to show you the secret sauce, and then team, people. It's so critical. That is why we're sharing over 80 people that are
Hugo, you're disconnected. We can't hear you.
Okay, thank you, Phil. So the team is super critical, okay? People that you trust, people that they can do the job for you, okay? You cannot be the bottleneck of your own success, and you need to focus on the activities that are gonna make you money, which is finding great deals. And to find great deals, you need to focus on three things: talking to sellers, talking to owners, and making offers. That's where your money is going to be, your return on investment is going to be exponentially high. Okay, anything else that you do, it's overhead. So again, we're going to go over the secret sauce, which in other words is through rentals. You've got to buy, rehab, rent, and repeat. So it's the BRRRR formula. Okay, again, we're going to buy the property, rehab, rent, and we're going to refinance the property. We're going to go into that detail in just a second to pay the expensive money that we used to buy the property with, and then finally repeat the same process. But so far, number two is something that is bugging a lot of investors down, and I want to emphasize that it's so critical for you to let go of those, I would say, miscellaneous tasks. They're very critical, but you've got to let go of them, because otherwise you're going to be focusing on things that are not going to make you any money. And I'm going to just give you a very quick example. I love soccer. I've been playing for the last 4 or 5 years, and my objective was to become the top scorer in the team. So in my team, it's over 33 years old. Anybody can play who's over 33 years old. So there are some even coaches who play in my team. They're really, really good. They have techniques and so forth. But I was determined to be number one in the team. Nowhere do I have the skills or the knowledge that many of my teammates do. But I told them, I asked them, what is it that I need to focus? Give me three things that I need to focus on to become the best scorer in the team. So they said, Hugo, you need to focus on three things: position yourself on the court, control of the ball, and finish. So meaning scoring the goal. So those are the three skill sets that I focus on. The rest I did not focus on, okay? To make the story short, about a year ago, I did become the top scorer in the team. And I did the same thing with racquetball, okay? Racquetball, I love racquetball. I've been playing that for 15 years. I stopped playing for about 2.5 years because I hurt my arm, but it was exactly the same thing. I just wanted to focus on the activity that would make me better than my competition. And that was patience, that was positioning, and that was the serve, practicing the serve and the finish. Okay, so there are certain things, just like anything that you can think of. If you want to become a blackjack player, anything, there are cheat sheets, things that you need to focus on. So in real estate, it's exactly the same thing. So let's start with number one, training, and then we're going to move on to 2 and 3. Okay, so this is our strategy. Okay, so we are going to buy the property. So I want to make sure that you take notes. We're going to buy properties for less than 200,000, okay? And the key of finding great deals, which is secret number 3, that you need to have a big spread on the property. So when you buy the property, you need to have at least, I like to have 80 to 100,000 spread between what you pay for the property and what the property is going to be worth once you make all the repairs. Okay, so again, 80 to 100,000 gap or spread. So if you buy the property for 100, it should appraise for 200. And the second condition is that the rehab shouldn't be more than 40,000. Okay, so that brings you to the next step, the rehab. With the rehab, it is super critical to have trusted and reliable contractors, because they can kill your numbers. Okay, that is why we're sharing our vetted contractors in ChicagoDealVault. We want to make sure that if you take on a rehab, that it goes smooth, and especially two things that you need to care about: on time, under budget, and good quality. Okay, so those are the things that are critical for the rehab. And finally, marketing the rent. Okay, so when you market the property for rent, we get top brokers to market the property. Our preferred broker is Frank Montreux. So he's been able to do rentals for us. and collecting, or demanding top dollars for our rentals. Finally, once you rent the property, you're going to need to refinance. So what does that mean? Well, why is that important? Because guess what? When we buy the property, we are using hard money lenders or private money lenders, okay? So they're giving you the money very fast, but it's very expensive money. It's like about 12 to 15% interest rate. So once you rehab and rent the property, guess what? You're gonna need to remove them from the equation. Therefore, you've gotta need to get another lender or even the same hard money lender to turn that fix and flip loan or rehab loan into a long-term rental loan that is 30-year or 25-year amortization and lower interest rate. And finally, you repeat the same process, okay? So those are the things. This is the strategy, the secret that is going to help you build your net worth tremendously for retirement, okay? When you're able to do like a cookie cutter mechanism for buying, rehabbing, and renting properties. But again, you've got to focus on simple properties that are ideally 3-bedroom, 1 or 2 baths, no basements, because basements could become headaches, especially when there are flooding, because you have all the washer, the dryer, all the HVAC system. It could be super expensive, right? So you want to focus on BC areas, bread and butter or challenging areas. You've got to stay away from the super expensive areas or the extremely challenging areas, right? Because either the numbers are not going to work if the areas are too expensive, or if the neighborhoods are very depressed, you're not going to get collectible tenants, or you're not going to get buyers to pay you top dollars for your properties. Okay, super important. We're going to be focusing on the middle class people, right, as our target audience when we rent these properties. And for that to happen, you need to be all in below 200,000. Ideally, all in should be less than 175,000. Super, super important. And then if you are all in at 175, guess what? You need to collect at least 1750 in rent. When you have that ratio of the 1% rule of thumb, guess what? You are going to be able to cash flow every single month, at least $250 per month per property, okay? And not only that, but over time, your property value is going up, therefore your net worth is increasing on a yearly basis, and your cash flow with the rents going up on a yearly basis as well, right? So this is the ultimate secret that we've used. So let me just give you a quick example. So you purchase, in this case, it's very difficult to find these type of properties where the rehab is very, very light, meaning all you do is paint, put very cosmetic touches, either in the flooring, bathrooms, kitchens, but you're not redoing bathrooms, kitchens, nothing extravagant, okay? Very, very simple. So for this property, we should be collecting at least, all in, we should be collecting 1,500 at least. So this property is renting for 1,775, okay? So obviously we're cash flowing about 350, 400 a month on this property. And what's really cool is the ARV. So this shows you that this was an incredible deal, because we knew what those properties in Caesar were selling for, about between 200 to 240, right? So we knew we needed to get the property between 140 to 130 to 150, with the rehab being less than 40,000. So these perfectly match the blueprint for a home run deal. So again, look at the ARV, and from the ARV, knock off 100,000. That's how, between 100,000 to, let's say, 80,000. That's how much you need to be paying for this property. Okay, so if we knock off 100,000, you need to be paying like 125, 130,000 for this property, assuming the rehab is less than 40. In this case, we were able to pay a little bit more for the property, so long the rehab was less. Okay, so it's always a better idea to pay more and spend less in rehab. Always, always, 100 times, okay? You don't want to pay very little and do a gut rehab, because gut rehabs mean a lot of kind of worms, okay? So you want to stay from that, away from it. So now when it comes to refinance, which is the piece of the puzzle where you're going to pay off the expensive money, they're going to want you to have equity on the deal, okay? So in this case, so long you have 25 to 30% equity, you're going to be able to get your money out, have very little money on the deal, and end up with equity. In this case, the equity for this property is about 70,000. So think about this. If you were to do 5 deals of these, that's about 400,000, just 5 deals like this. So, I mean, wouldn't you think that it's very doable to do 5 deals in the next year, year and a half? I mean, it's very much doable, increasing your net worth by at least 400,000 to 500,000. And that's all you need. You don't need more, okay? Because not only are you going to end up with positive cash flow, but with the equity that you have in those properties, you could accomplish the retirement way earlier than the traditional formula of reaching 65 or more. Does that make sense? And most importantly, that you spend your time doing what's truly meaningful for you, okay? So this is the formula, friends. So what I'm showing you on the screen has all the secrets of a great deal. So a great deal, again, from the ARV, you're gonna need to pay about 100,000 less, and the rehab not being more than 40, which makes it a medium rehab, which means that you need to do sort of like the basic paint, flooring, light plumbing, light electric, and then you need to update the bathroom and the kitchen. You're not gonna redo them, you're gonna update them, like painting the kitchen or the bathroom, updating maybe the vanities, some of the kitchen cabinets, and so forth. So that is secret number 3. You know, how to find great deals. Okay, and also this screenshot that I have in front of you shows you the secret. Okay, of the knowledge that you need to be able to grow exponentially in the next 2 years. Okay, if you follow this recipe, you're going to increase your net worth by at least $500,000 in the next year to year and a half. Very much doable. Okay, so now the second piece of the equation is super important, right? A team, having a team of reliable people. Because let me tell you, the minute you buy the property, okay, let me tell you, you're gonna need to have a team of people. First of all, you're gonna need to be working with brokers, okay, that are looking for deals for you, whether it's MLS or off market. You don't need to pay them because they're gonna make a commission from the seller, okay, if they are MLS properties. Super, super important. And if they happen to have off market deals, they may charge a flat fee, about $2,000 per great deal, okay, that they give you or they wholesale over to you. But again, you're gonna need to work with brokers on the buy side. Then now, once you get a property on the contract, you're gonna need to have an inspection on the property. Again, you cannot become your own inspector. You're gonna need to use an inspector. You're gonna need to have an attorney. So we're gonna make these resources available to you. An attorney is gonna review everything, make sure that everything is in place. And super important, funding, right? You're gonna need to have funding in place or line up even before you start making offers. So who are you gonna use for funding? First of all, Harmony lenders, we have 22. We're currently using about 3 or 4 extensively that we're making available to you. All you need to do is reach out to them to make sure that they give you some sort of like a line of credit or pre-approval letter for you to attach to the offers that you make. Okay, super, super important. We're gonna make those available to you. And private money lenders are individuals who lend money to investors, and we have over 8,000 in ChicagoDealVault. I mean, it's just insane. And we're gonna we give you their contact information. So it is a good practice to start lining up funding for your deals way ahead of time. So when you're ready to pull the trigger, funding is right there for you. So lenders are going to be looking for these numbers that I'm showing you on the screen. They want to make sure that if you have that spread that I told you from what you pay to the ARV, $80,000 to $100,000 spread. Because guess what? All the ratios they're looking for, like the debt coverage ratio, the cash flow, are going to be there. Even your exit strategy will be there. So you could flip this property, you could rent this property all day long. Okay, so they're going to be looking for this type of deal. So they are asset-based lenders, hard money lenders and private money lenders. Okay, they're going to be focusing on the collateral, in this case, the property. If you bring them a great deal, funding is going to be the easy part. Okay, they also want you to have skin on the game. Okay, so for this type of transaction, we needed to pay 10%. So now with COVID, it's going to be 15%. So we had to bring about 15,000 to closing for this property. Okay, and the next step is rehabbing. Okay, rehabbing. Phil, can you make a note? I want to make sure that everyone uses our one sheet rehab estimator. Okay, it's a very simple sheet. All you need to do is fill in the items that you need to repair or replace, and we are going to help you compute the rehab estimate. Because guess what? Hard money lenders or private money lenders are going to be asking for your rehab estimate. How much are you going to spend in the property? And you don't need to be a contractor to do that. Okay,
We can't hear you.
Okay, thank you, Phil. So we're going to make this one-page rehabber spreadsheet available to you, because all you need to do is plug in what the property needs, and we're going to give you the rehab estimate. All lenders are going to ask you for that, because guess what? The cool thing about asset-based lenders is that they are going to finance 100% of the rehab. They're going to pay you 100% of the rehab, but the way to do it is that you need to do it in phases or milestones, because they're not going to release all the money up front. So if you tell them, I'm going to spend 40,000 in rehab, they're not going to give you the 40,000 up front. They want you to do that in milestones. So let's assume that you did the flooring the first week. So they can come, do an inspection on the property, and they can give you the money for the first phase. Okay, so let's say flooring, you accounted 4,000, and boom, they release the money. So you do need to fund the first week, for instance. Let's assume we're doing weekly milestones, and you're going to get refunded once the week is completed. Okay, that's number 2 step. And then we're sharing our contractors, because you've got to have licensed, bonded contractors who can pull permits. Super important, friends, because one of the mistakes that many people make is that they buy a property, and guess what? They don't pull the permits, and they start doing the work. Guess what? Either neighbors, inspectors are going to drive by, they're going to see that you're doing some work, and they're going to put a stop order on your property. And guess what? When that happens, the village is not going to be happy with you, and they're going to make your life very miserable, and they're going to find you. They might take you to court. It's just a big nightmare. So you want to be on the good side of the inspectors at the villages. For that to happen, you always have to pull permits. So you're going to need to pull permits for plumbing, electric, HVAC, roof, windows, even fences. Okay, super important. So for that, you need licensed plumbers, electricians. And if it's some villages require like a general rehab permit, for that you can get a GC, general contractor, to pull the permit for you. Okay, again, that is super important. They're going to come to the property, do an inspection to check the condition of the property, and based on that, they're going to tell you what permits you need for it. Okay, once you do the work, then they're going to come back again and do an inspection, make sure everything is done up to code. And believe me, it is just the right way to do things. You cannot cut corners with the village or with contractors. Once they do the work, you have to pay them on time, because really good contractors are in high demand. If you jerk them around with their money, they're not going to work for you. They're not going to come back, because believe me, even the bad ones are extremely busy nowadays. So get reliable contractors, and they need to give you or sign a lien waiver at the end of the project. What that means is that states that they've been paid and they're not going to come back to you and file a mechanics lien on your property. And that is a document that is required by the lenders. Before they release the funds over to you for the rehab, they want to have this lien waiver, okay, that ensures contractors and subcontractors are not going to put a mechanics lien on the property, okay? And again, we are sharing those contractors with you. And then when it comes time to renting the property, you need to get professional pictures taken. That's another mistake that I've seen, that people just take their cell phone and they take pictures and upload them. No, you've got to pay about $75, get professional pictures. You need a broker in that area that is top broker, okay, to market your property, to get top dollars, okay? You don't want to just put an ad in Zillow and or Craigslist and try to rent it yourself. No, you're gonna, when you try to save pennies, you're gonna be losing dollars. You've always have to work with the top professionals, okay? You need to trust their expertise. Super, super important, because I see a lot of investors trying to save money, cutting corners, and it backfires big time. So I'm just telling you the rundown of the secrets that you need to apply. Now, once you rent the property, guess what investors do? They want to save money on the property management, right? So they start doing the property management themselves. They're not a property management company. So guess what? They neglect maintenance. They're not on top of the payments. They're not on top of their lease renewals. They're not on top of lease increases. They're not on top of maintenance. I mean, it becomes a disaster, okay? And some investors, they even read up on property management. That's, again, waste of time. You should be investing your time in getting and finding great deals, talking to owners and talking to sellers. You've got to get a property management company to do your property management for your rentals. Super important. So we're sharing our property management company. Secure Pay One, I love them, because guess what? Most property management companies are going to charge you a percentage of the rents, 10, 12%. And on top of that, they charge an arm and a leg for the repairs. I didn't like that. So the one we use and share with you, they're just going to charge you a flat fee per door, $50. And guess what? They're going to be using the crew of contractors that you prefer, okay? So you save both ways, on the maintenance and also on the monthly fee, right? Because you don't want companies to tap into your rental income. Why? I mean, if you increase the rents by 5, 10%, why should their fee go up? Absolutely not. They just should be getting paid for what they do, right? So they are in charge of getting the phone calls in the middle of the night, dealing with tenant relationships. And super important, this is another mistake that I've seen, that landlords usually write up the leases, they just take a lease, and guess what? They are not fully giving all the addendums on the leases, all the notices that they need to give to the tenants, and they can be in violation of the landlord tenant ordinance, which again can backfire big time. That is why you also need to work with the broker, right? They're going to write up the lease, they're going to give all the addendums, everything, all the disclosures that are needed for you to be in compliance with the landlord tenant ordinance. Because if you violate that, guess what? You are in for big trouble, okay? The landlord tenant ordinance always 100% favors tenants. So you don't want to open up that big can of worms, okay? So next step, refinance. Something that I really love that has happened in the last, I would say, 7 years, is that hard money lenders are now coming up with rental loans, which is awesome, right? You don't need to go anywhere. They already have your application, your appraisal. You're going to be saving on closing costs, and they can just turn the loan from rehab into rental. Very simple. You do a closing, they can come to you. It is super convenient. You're going to be saving a lot of money. And boom, you're done. And what's really cool is that when you use the same lender for both the purchase and the refi, you don't need to wait the seasoning period that most conventional lenders require for you to cash out. So if you have enough equity in the deal, guess what? Not only are you going to be able to refinance and pay off the expensive money, but you can cash out, and you can use that money obviously for the down payment of the next property, or just to capitalize yourself, to have enough cash in the bank. Okay, so that's the refi process. And then again, you need to do this over and over and over. So when you buy great properties, that's when ChicagoDealVault comes into the picture, right? With the leads for off-market deals. So properties that are technically not for sale, they're still owned by distressed owners. So you're going to have access to probates, pre-foreclosures, upcoming auctions, bank-owned properties. To really find these type of spreads, you're going to need to look into off-market properties. That is a fact. We found some great deals from the MLS, but the spread is not as big. Okay, why? Because there's too much competition. Those deals that are awesome, they don't even make it to the MLS. Okay, so if you want great deals, you have to focus on off-market properties, pre-foreclosures, upcoming auctions, bank-owned properties, probates. Those are the main lead pipes for you to find these type of deals. Okay, so I'm going to show you very quickly where these type of deals are, and in particularly, we have been focusing on bank-owned properties. So I'm going to tell you why bank-owned properties. So I'm going to go to ChicagoDealVault and show you the lead pipes that I was telling you. Okay. So first of all, I want to show you that we have over 90 preferred partners right here by category. Okay, inspectors, attorneys, property management, staging, tax appeal. I mean, this is big, right? Tax appeal, it's super important, right? So that you pay less taxes. We appeal them on a yearly basis. Title services, you name it, the whole 9 yards. The team that you need is right here at your disposal. And before I forget, I told you that virtual assistants are so critical. So we're going to make our virtual assistant available to you for the next 30 days, okay? So they're going to be able to help you find deals. All we need is the areas that you're interested in, and we're going to find off-market deals. They're going to do the flip rental analysis, give you all the details that you need. Now, these are the off-market properties. The reason why I love bank-owned properties is because right now we have a great connection that allows us to buy properties directly from the bank. There is no hassle with the negotiation. We know how much we need to pay to the bank for the property. That's it. Whereas here, you've got to reach out to either the administrator or the owner. You still have to see the property, negotiate the deal. So it's a little bit more time consuming, right? And you also need to be aware of the liens. If there are any liens, outstanding creditors to pay off, you are going to need to be aware of that. Whereas when you're focusing on bank-owned properties, guess what? When you buy the property from the bank, you don't need to worry about the liens because you're getting what's called the special warranty deed, okay? Special warranty deed, which ensures that it's the deed that you get is free and clear of any encumbrances, or what they usually call cloud on the title. So it's all clean, super important, right? And with this lead pipe that we have right here, bank-owned, or we call it shadow inventory, it is super amazing because this week we got about 500 properties. We know how much they're gonna sell it for. You see this column that says target, so we know how much they're gonna sell it for. So you can even filter by the price, right? You can go by the price. I'm gonna go to the next page because remember, I told you, you wanna pay a little bit more in exchange for a better quality property in a better neighborhood, okay? You don't wanna pay like cents and get a piece of junk and have to do a go rehab, okay? So I'm gonna go to usually I like to do either by map or by price, right? I know my price range, I wanna pay between 100 to 175. So look at this. I'm going to go to the a little bit more expensive properties. And what's really cool about this is that you get to see what the Zestimate is on the right-hand corner. on the right column. So in seconds, you can spot deals with a big spread. Remember the spread that I mentioned earlier? 80 to about $100,000 spread. So check this out. Right here on this property, I see a spread of about 50,000. It's not good enough. Here it's a bigger spread. Okay, this is about $75,000 spread. So I would be interested in looking at this property. Okay, so 3303 West Hollywood Avenue. So we need to do further due diligence on this property because it meets the gap, the spread that you need for this to be a great deal. There are other properties that they're not even close to the spread that we're looking for. Like for instance, this one. We can buy it for 160, but it's worth 165. Forget it. There's no spread. Here you have $60,000 spread. It's good, but I don't think it's good enough. Okay, you truly need $80,000 to $100,000 spread with a rehab of less than 40,000. But when I see the spread of 60, 70,000, I'm gonna take a look at it so long it's in a B neighborhood, B plus neighborhood. Super, super important. And then you always want to look for properties that are vacant, okay? Now, here it may say occupied, but it doesn't matter because the last 3-4 properties that we bought, it said occupied, but indeed they were vacant, okay? So you actually need to physically go to the property to check occupancy. Super, super important. So in this case, check this out. Here we have a big spread on this property. And this is in Bloomington. So this is quite far. So we wouldn't go that far. But what I'm showing you is that I can just focus on the purchase price. These are going over 200,000. Okay, so I'm going to be very careful on these ones. Like this one, Streamwood, 201, and the property is worth 240. It's not worth it, friends. In fact, we bought a property in Streamwood last year for about 130,000. Why? Because we know the properties are selling for about 230, 240. So again, $100,000 spread, 200,000, not enough meat in the bone. You're going to lose money on either a strategy that you take, flip or rental. Now here it's going way over our comfort level, okay, when it comes to price. Yeah, these are going over what we're looking for because we want to keep it simple, not so expensive. So pretty much I can look at these 20 properties in less than a minute, right? I just go by the location. Some of them are in counties that are way too far, like Clark or Knox County, LaSalle. These are way too far, right? So we're just gonna stick to Cook for this set of properties in this case. Cicero, we love Cicero. Like in this case, 156 and the property is worth 208. I mean, I'm gonna take a look at this. If this property is like in awesome condition that we need a very, very light rehab, it's worth looking into this. What I wanted to show you is how easy it is to find great deals, okay? You don't need to spend hours, and I can do the same with pre-foreclosures. The key thing is to look for properties with a lot of equity, like over 50% equity, let's say in Kane County. Boom. I'm gonna search and then I'm gonna get 229 properties. That's still quite a lot, okay? So I'm just gonna focus on the neighborhoods that I like within this county, Kane County. So for instance, I know Aurora is an upcoming area. Elgin, South Elgin is a good neighborhood. So let me show you this property. For instance, this property is, the owner is in the hook for 60,000. It's worth over 200,000 or 200,000. So there's a lot of equity in this deal. It doesn't have any other liens. So this is an example of how quickly I was able to find over 200 great deals just with a click of a button, 2 clicks, and that's it. So that's where you need to spend your time, friends, finding great deals, okay? And then leveraging from other people's skill sets. Now, another question is, does Frank Monroe find good deals? Yeah, absolutely. He can help find great deals. He's got his right-hand partner, Reggie. He's been in the business for like 40 years, so he knows the the areas like the back of his hand. So they can help you find great deals. What is the difference between off-market properties, banked on, and your shadow inventory? Great question, Mark. They're absolutely the same thing. Shadow inventory right here and banked on properties from off-market, they're exactly the same. The only difference is that the inventory right here in this tab is the one that we get from our partner. These are the properties that we can buy directly from the bank, okay? Even if these properties are in the auctioning platforms like auction.com, Hubzu, and so forth, it doesn't matter. We can pull them from the back door. Even if people are overbidding for the property, we'll buy them for the reserve price, for what the bank is going to sell them for. But as I showed you earlier, how easy it is just compare these two columns. I mean, do I see an $80,000 spread? Yes or no? Like here, $75,000 spread, but it's in the middle of nowhere. Forget it. So here, this also you have 55. So here you have about $80,000 spread. 3303 Hollywood. So this could be very appealing, right? This property fit prices for over 260 because you do have the spread. Okay, so you need to do further due diligence in the location. I mean, the location is very, very good on this property. So you need to find out if it's vacant. So this is just us spending a little bit more time on finding great deals, which is what you need to focus on. And what I said earlier, that you need to leverage from other people, including virtual assistants. So we're going to have our assistants find deals for you. Okay, so we're going to do a challenge for you and us. For all of you who are on the line, I want us to send us the list of areas that you're interested in, and we are going to send you at least one deal that makes sense this week. How about that? Okay, we're going to send you a deal that makes sense either for a flip, for a rental this week. Okay, so we're going to show you the power of what it's like to delegate. Even if you don't have the time to log into the system, to look for properties, we're going to do that for you, just for you to get a feel of what it's like to have somebody else do the work for you. Okay, super, super powerful. Are there any other questions on the line? How often, so we get, Mike, this data gets updated daily, and the shadow inventory that is over here that we get on a weekly basis, we get it on Tuesday through Thursday, or sometimes Friday, we get the inventory. So we update these as they come, okay? So as soon as they come, boom, we make it available on the system. Okay, thank you for pasting the information, Phil. Also, I want to make sure that you get free access to DealVault for the next 30 days. We're going to give you a free ticket to the 3-day event organized by Chicago RIA that is coming up October 23rd through the 25th. So you get free access to DealVault, a free ticket to the 3-day. So Phil, can you please send the instructions? The promo code is RETIRE. Okay. And then if anybody has any questions, we just put them via the chat. And then what we started doing is me calling somebody right after this event. Okay, if you have, if you want to chat, anything that you have questions about, or you just want to, if you feel stuck, send your phone via the chat, and then we're going to call you. I'm going to call you right after the webinar. Okay, are there any other questions on the line? So we're going to remain on the line for the next couple of minutes to help answer any questions. Make sure that you do have access to the system, to all the resources, the deals, the private money lenders, all the preferred partners, cash buyers, the whole 9 yards, okay? And most importantly, for you to apply our seeker formula so that you don't go into the traditional retirement plan, that you start building wealth through rentals, okay? Are there any other questions on the line? Thank you, Mark. So we'll remain on the line for the next few minutes. And please make sure that you RSVP if you join the webinar, because then we're gonna send you the list of Harmony lenders that I mentioned. We're gonna send you the one spreadsheet for the rehab estimator that we use, super powerful. So make sure that you register for the event, and then you'll get the one-page Excel spreadsheet. Can you repeat the 10,000 versus 15,000 we have to bring to the closing? Yeah, Mike. So typically it's 15%. Pre-COVID was 10%. Now they're asking for 15% down. So if your purchase price is about 100 and let's say 130,000, they're going to ask you to bring to the table about 15,000 plus closing costs, 15 to 20,000. Okay, that you're going to need to bring to the closing table. Yes, exactly, as down payment. Even though they're going to finance 85% of the transaction of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab, they still want you to bring or have some skin on the game. Okay, but that does not apply if you use private money lenders. They can pretty much give you the money for everything, 100% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab. So private money lenders is a little bit different. It is just relationship based. Okay, so to start securing financing,
Can't hear you.
question is, how do we start securing financing? So you need to reach out to hard money lenders. Okay, so here we have a list of few of them, hard money lenders, but we are going to give you about 22 more. Okay, when you send us an email, reach out to them, tell them you're interested in a line of credit, which you are going to use when you make an offer. You want to make sure that you have these lined up when you make offers. People, sellers take you seriously, and you can follow through. They're gonna go through underwriting a lot quicker if you reach out to them ahead of time. So please make sure that you send us an email, and then we're gonna make sure that we give you